Hello, greetings. I'm Seguya Hamis again from Kimdi Group of Companies, the design team. As for you who may have watched our previous video, we were talking about an integrated structure that is storied in design, and it's supposed to hold 20 cows on the ground floor and 300 goats, zero grazing mode on the first floor. Today, we are at the site where we're actually setting up this very structure. We want to talk about a few of those things that we talked about in the previous video, their importance and why we actually emphasize those few things. We are going to start with facilities that are already established on our site. These include a water point, the toilet, the structure itself, an exercise yard. It's not yet organized, but it's already shown. Later it will be organized and made more clean and usable. Where I'm standing, right behind me, is a toilet. It's going to be a pit latrine, and this is important to be among the first things we set up on the structure, because you of course expect someone that's going to be looking after these animals to need their own human facilities. Soon we shall be setting up what we call staff quarters, where people that actually look after these animals actually also go to rest. Here we have a 10,000 liters water tank that gets its water from an already existing well. That water is pumped into the tank, and therefrom it can be used for whatever use we need it for. At the moment, this is the very water we are depending on to carry out our building, which may include mixing concrete, washing up, cleaning our tools. But also, as you know, the water itself is important during the farming itself, because it's used for feeding the animals, it can be used for irrigating our pasture farm, it's used for cleaning up. Water is very important to have as those things you plan for first on your side. What we have here is what is going to become our exercise yard when this structure is fully set up. As I talked about in the previous video, for you who hasn't watched it, I encourage you to go and look for it. This is going to be where our animals get out of the structure to come and get some sunlight. This is also important for activities like spraying those animals. If you need to castrate them, maybe things like that can be done in the exercise yard. Also, the exercise yard is important for when you need to clean the structure. We talked about the importance of having a clean and an easily cleanable animal structure. So that exercise yard comes in very handy when you need to actually thoroughly clean the structure. Let me take you to what we have already set up on our building. Our client chose to do this project in two phases, where she sought to have the goat structure done first before actually building up the cow structure. We all know finances can be a major thing in these projects, so you don't have to carry the whole burden of setting up the whole project at once. Usually we can have the goat structure built first, or if you're more interested and you can actually have the cows set up first, it's also no problem. But what we have already existing, as I told you about our structure last time, we have a double roofing system, which is essentially important to separate the cow's structure on the ground floor from the goat structure, basically using the middle roof or the first roof to protect the cows from the droppings of the goats on the first floor. And this, what you see here, much as we haven't yet roofed it with iron sheets or covered up with iron sheets, we've actually already set up that roofing system, and it will be used to avoid or protect the cows from the goats droppings that will be on the first floor. Soon we shall be roofing it up, and then it will be ready to run. Then I would like to talk about the importance of having the right materials, how you start setting up the structure. Therefore, given that we are going to have quite a big load on the first floor, we have to choose the poles we use in setting up the structure quite carefully. We had to look for very, very thick poles, as you may see this one. These poles help us in supporting the weight of the animals on the first floor and the roof. You're not supposed to look for very, very old poles, because of course they're going to wear out fast, and before you know it, you'll need to fix or repair your structure, which is expensive. These poles are planted in concrete, as you can see. They're also wrapped in PVC material, and they have been treated against termites. This is essentially important to keep our structure from being affected by groundwater and also being affected by termites. As you may see, we are still setting up the floor bed of the goats, whereby we are using 6x2 timber to set up this floor. Now, the importance of this is we are supposed to have a strong floor so that however healthy and heavy your goats are, they actually do not collapse the floor to fall into the goats. So it is important you choose the materials you use to set up very, very carefully. It's not yet done, but as you can see, the floor has been laid from one side to another. That helps you with utilizing your materials very well and to avoid wastages. Very soon, we shall have that floor finished and we shall move on to making the side walls of the goat and having the main roof, which of course covers the floor of the goat, so that in case of bad weather on the outside, you can actually keep the animals indoors and they still have their day go by. In my previous video, I told you about having 300 goats on the first floor, and that floor is going to have separations or partitions that separate general flock from the pregnant mothers and from the kids of the goats. So we are going to have a partition that has pregnant mothers and have that of mothers that have just given birth, and then we also have one for bucks. On top of that, we are also going to have indoor troughs. These are essentially to allow you, even on bad weather, to keep your animals with food. As we may know, especially goats are not so good and do not deal so well with wet weather and wet situations. So even on a wet day or on a rainy day, we have these feeders inside to allow you actually provide food in a comfortable situation for your goats. Our structure is going to have a ramp. This is how we are going to be able to access the first floor. That ramp hasn't yet been constructed, but it's going to be constructed soon. This is essentially to allow you access the first floor with ease. Let's talk about the cow structure a little bit. Much as it's not yet going to be constructed, its phase hasn't yet come. That structure is also going to house 20 adult cows because we are doing dairy, so we have cows only. We are going to have space for cubicles for up to 8 cows, and then we have a milking parlor of up to 4 cows. So that is all going to be enclosed in this space, and then on our space on the upper side we shall have a store, while on the lower side we are going to have a collection point for manure and waste. This manure is going to be collected using trenches which are going to be built on the side of the structure in concrete. This is essentially to cut back on the work needed on collecting this. We are going to have the floor a bit slanty, which allows urine and other waste, for example, water that may pour around from the water troughs or feeds themselves that may pour out of the feeding trough to flow easily or by themselves towards the lower side of the structure without them having to be stagnant. This allows the animals space to keep dry, also to make it very easy for that person that actually pushes the dirt that is static towards one side. There will be outlets on the lower side that allow whatever dirt or waste on the floor to go direct into the trenches, and then from the trenches it can be pushed to the general collecting point. We still emphasize having these things set up on your farm. If you can, have a store. This is important to keep equipment used on the farm. This allows you to actually have accountability later and not to have wastage on those things. For example, equipment. You don't want to be buying equipment in a very short time simply because you kept it wrongly. So you want to have a store where you keep all these things. The importance of water, as we all know it, so I emphasize that you set up a water source and, if possible, collect rainwater to use it in long droughts for those people that are located in places that actually experience long droughts and long dry seasons. Sometimes, if you can actually afford it, have big enough water collection points that you can maybe use for things like irrigating your pasture farms so that your animals don't run out of feed on the account of having no water to actually irrigate your farm. You need a toilet, of course, because the people that look after these animals also have basic needs, and then you want to have maybe a simple structure or a simple quarter where you stay, so what we call staff quarters. These are important things, but most of the time they're overlooked while we are setting up these things or planning for them, yet they make the whole farming situation quite comfortable and easy. I encourage you to keep watching our videos. We shall be showing you the progress of our construction as it comes along. We'll also be discussing other types of integrated structures, or even those structures you don't know you could actually set up or are important to set up on the farm. I want to thank you for keeping with us till this far. I want to thank you for subscribing to our channel and viewing our content on any other social media you follow us on. We are located in Kasangati Sport Complex, right opposite the Kasangati Police Station along Gayaza Road. And then for you who has a consultation, you also have contacts, they will be shown. You can actually reach out and find out more about these structures and what you need for your farm. Thank you. I'm Seguya Hamis. May God bless you, and thank you for watching.